What's going on, baseball fans? Jeremy Laracuente here for the Baseball Banter Broadcast. And on this broadcast, we are going to be bantering about the state of the 2023 Pittsburgh Pirates. Now, before I get into breaking down every aspect of this franchise, I want to let you know that there's a corresponding article up on laracuenteledger.com that covers and details everything that we're going to go over here on this video. Now, as we break down the state of this franchise, we begin with the major acquisition. Now, when it comes to the Pirates, that acquisition is former Pirate and MVP Andrew McCutchen. This is a homecoming of sorts. We saw it last season take place with Albert Pujols heading back to the Cardinals. Now here, Andrew McCutchen heading back to Pittsburgh. This is a homecoming of sorts, a very feel-good moment. But Andrew McCutchen is also a guy who's going to go into that Pirates clubhouse and really be a mentor and a leader in the clubhouse. The Pittsburgh Pirates are a team that is a very interesting team to watch in 2023. There is going to be a lot of losing that they go through. There's going to be a lot of players that are trying to develop and continue to grow and mature. And Andrew McCutchen can be the leader amongst that. He can tell them about what it is to be a Pirate and play a winning brand of Pirates baseball. I also think that for McCutchen, this is a very low pressure situation to go back to. You go in, you're going to be playing every day, and you're going to be able to have an opportunity to really help the next generation of Pirate greats. Now, when it comes to the significant injuries, Yuri De Los Santos is the injury that is going to most affect the Pittsburgh Pirates. I think that when you look at what this player can be for Pittsburgh, this pitcher has an opportunity to really be an impact arm for the organization. There are going to be a lot of eyes on him. There's going to be an interest to see how he goes through spring training and if he can get back to the Pirates pitching staff as a big-time deal, a big-time member of that staff. So this is going to be the player to most watch in terms of spring training on the injury front. Now, when it comes to the top prospect, Henry Davis is a catching prospect that is their number one in the organization. This is a guy who has an absolutely tremendous offensive profile. Now, there are serious questions about his defense and whether or not he's going to be able to remain at catcher despite having a rocket of an arm. I think that there's an opportunity for Henry to be able to go into this season with the Pirates, be able to try to collect himself, be able to learn on the job, develop those skills, and be able to be an impact bat for the Pittsburgh Pirates for many years to come. Now, the one thing will be, again, learning that defensive ability as a catcher at the major league level is going to be extremely difficult. But I think that for this player, the offensive profile is going to allow him to be able to be a consistent contributor for the Pittsburgh Pirates in 2023 and beyond. I think that there is going to be a lot of eyes to see how he progresses through spring training to see if this can be an everyday major league catcher or if Pittsburgh is going to have to transition him over to another position altogether. Now, when it comes to bold predictions for the Pittsburgh Pirates, it is probably the most unbold prediction, and we said as such on our 23 bold predictions for the 2023 season, but Bryan Reynolds gets traded. This is a player who reiterated his desire to be traded from the Pittsburgh Pirates at the very beginning, the very onset of spring training. And that's likely not going to change. I don't think that Bryan Reynolds and the Pittsburgh Pirates are ever going to come to an agreement on an extension. And therefore, Pittsburgh should look to trade Bryan Reynolds. Now, what they're going to be able to receive back for him, the asking price has been said to be very, very high thus far for this player. And it's looking less and less likely that Reynolds will be traded before spring training. This is more than likely going to be something that happens by the trading deadline as opposed to before the season starts. Unless we get a major injury for a contending team that needs an outfielder, a center fielder, this is going to be a guy who is likely going to start the year as a Pittsburgh Pirate. But mark my words, Bryan Reynolds gets traded from Pittsburgh. And when it comes to the divisional rankings for the Pittsburgh Pirates, I think that there's a lot to start to like about this team. I think the foundation is going to be there to start building a contender. However, For the 2023 season, this is a fourth place team. I don't think that there's any question about that this is going to be one of the more easily winnable divisions, except in the case of the Cincinnati Reds and the Pittsburgh Pirates. I don't think that there's an opportunity for either one of those clubs to be able to really supersede the three teams that are going to be ahead of them in the Cubs, Brewers, and the Cardinals. To me, Pittsburgh is going to go through a lot of losing, but a lot of learning this season. They are going to end up in fourth place. They will finish better than the Reds, in my opinion, but that is going to be the highest that they finish in 2023. Now, when it comes to grading out the pitching staff for the Pittsburgh Pirates, it is a D- staff. There is not a lot to like on here. There's a lot of questions, a lot of doubt, and no one that you're really going to look at as the foundational piece, as the ace of the staff, or even in the back end of the bullpen, there's going to be question marks. David Bednar is likely going to be the most well-known name in terms of this bullpen and pitching staff entirely for the Pittsburgh Pirates. I think that Bednar is going to be a guy who potentially could be traded, depending on how things work out with the Pittsburgh Pirates. But when it comes to the overall staff, this is a borderline failing pitching staff. When it comes to the offense, this is where you can kind of start to see the groundwork being laid. I think that there was a lot done this offseason for the Pirates and a C- grade overall for their offense. Again, when you're looking at guys like Andrew McCutchen, Carlos Santana, G-Man Choi, you're also having Brian Reynolds, you have Cabrian Hayes. There are going to be some pieces on this roster that could potentially do some things offensively. I also think that there's an opportunity for a guy like O'Neal Cruz to take a big step forward in his development in 2023. This is going to be a club that is very interesting to watch on the offensive side of things. I think a lot of losing is going to be done because of the pitching staff for Pittsburgh, but I think they're going to have a relatively interesting and entertaining offensive lineup in 2023. And when it comes to grading out the offseason for Pittsburgh, it was a C+ overall grade for me. I think that they did a lot this offseason to try to change things up, bring in some veteran leaderships, guys that are going to be able to be better because of the new rule changes. Guys like Carlos Santana and G-Man Choi are going to be very much improved in terms of their statistical analysis at the end of the 2023 season as compared to 2022 with the new implementation of the shifting rules. I think that there is going to be an opportunity for these veterans to really impart some wisdom to some of the younger players on the Pirates staff and help them in their development to further cement the Pirates as they continue to try to rebuild into a contending team. So for me, this offseason was a very good offseason, not the greatest, but a C+ grading overall. Now, when it comes to breaking down the entirety of this franchise, to me, it's an average franchise. A C grading is what I'm giving them. I think that for Pittsburgh, they are at the edge of beginning to start to ascend towards postseason contention. I think that there are players to like on this offensive core. And yes, there's likely going to be some mixing and matching, some things that get moved around for Pittsburgh in this 2023 season. I also think that for their pitching staff, there needs to be some semblance of almost an entire overhaul. But there are going to be opportunities for them to really start to develop this team as they go forward throughout the course of the year. I think that with some strategic moves, some possible veteran trades at the deadline, they can get back some high-level prospects if these guys have good seasons, good first half going into the trading deadline. To me, Pittsburgh is a team that comes with such a legacy, such a pedigree, and getting back to being a postseason team is going to be of the utmost importance. Now, it's going to be questioned how this ownership group is really willing and will they spend. More than likely, there's going to have to be a creative use of resources by the front office in order to make the Pirates a consistent postseason team. As we saw when they were going through those runs of predominantly postseason appearances from that 2013-2015 timeframe, they weren't really adding a lot. So there's going to be questions about whether or not this team is going to be financially capable of a long-term successful push. But if they can start to build up these players, build up these prospects, guys like O'Neal Cruz, guys like Henry Davis, there's going to be an opportunity to really start to put the Pirates back into at least a wild card hunt in the National League. But I want to hear from you, Pirates fans. Let me know how you're feeling about your squad in 2023. Let me know what are the high points, what are the low points for this season in your mind. Let me know that down in the comments, or you can find me over on Twitter at banter_baseball, and we can keep the conversation rolling. As always, you can find us on our other social media outlets on Instagram and TikTok at Baseball Banter Broadcast. If you want to show support, again, there's a corresponding article on the state of the Pittsburgh Pirates over on laracuenteledger.com. And if you want to show more support beyond that, you can head over to our merchandise shop, baseballbanterbroadcast.com, where we have a ton of promo codes you can use to save on some Banter merch. Now it's YouTube, so you know the deal. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and the bell for post notifications. Most of our audience is not yet subscribed, so we are trying to continue growing this baseball community. So let your friends that are fans of this beautiful sport of baseball know this is the channel to watch in 2023 and beyond. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in, and I will catch you guys on the next broadcast with the latest banter about the world of baseball. Peace.